Hey beekeepers, the Hive Doctor here. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be taking this colony right here, which is a swarm that I caught, about a week ago. And I'm going to be marking the queen, showing you how to do that, as well as structuring the hive the way I would like to see it. This colony, I've already peeked in on them and they've moved to the one side of the deep. I'd like to take those frames and center them so they can grow out in both directions and then up into the honey super the way that colonies usually do. With that in mind, stick around. Okay, so with the honey super off, I can freely work down in this deep. The colony's over here on the inner side of the box. I want to take the frames that they chose to work on and center them up, placing these empty frames over here on the outsides of the colony. And in the meantime, while I'm doing this, I'm going to locate and mark the queen. Okay, so having created some space to work, I can go ahead and start pulling frames that have bees on them and analyzing what kind of swarm I got. This frame right here, they've started to put open nectar in. This one here is the same thing, both sides, no brood yet. I anticipate the queen has probably started laying by now, so I expect to see eggs and possibly some young larvae, depends on when she started. All right, so this frame, they've got a lot of open nectar in this area here. But right here, they've cleared a space for the queen to lay. And that looks about right, exactly what they normally do. Looking down in the cells there, I only see eggs, no larvae yet, but she has laid it. She could be actively on this frame. I don't see her. So I'm gonna put this one back and move to the next one. They've started whitening the comb in this, so I know they've already decided to settle in. Now this frame, wow, they've got older larvae on this already. So she started laying pretty much right away when I caught her, or when I caught the swarm. Let's see how close we can get this. All right, doing a once over for the queen on this side, then this side. I found her. She is, I'm gonna bring you closer so I can show you me catching her and placing her in a little queen cage to mark her with. All right, so first of all, here's what I'm going to be using. Now, I've caught and handled queens plenty since I've started beekeeping, but I don't ever mark my queens. I've just recently started doing that. So just to be safe, I don't do it like the pros do. I just decided to use this really nifty tool here. It's got a piston that goes up and down with this lever. And the top here is a nice soft foam layer. It's to help prevent damaging the queen. This operates with this little push lever. And of course, this is a queen cage that allows you to mark through this onto the queen's thorax, but without letting her out. And the idea is to catch her, put her in, close her off, and then slowly move this up to get her into a position where she's kind of pinned against this softly so you can mark her. Now, one thing we got to be careful of when we use this kind of marking cage is not to have her in anywhere around this area while closing or opening this, because we could decapitate her or lose a limb, an arm or something. So it's still a delicate process to get it just right. All right, so my queen is right here. I like to come behind, grab her like that. I should have got both wings, but I didn't. I only got one. You don't want to do that. And there's probably a better way to do this, but that's always worked. I've never damaged a queen. I should probably look into a better, more professional way of handling a queen. But right now, she is mostly trying to get out around my finger. So I'm going to start sliding this closed. And when I know for sure she's not in the way, I'm going to shut it completely. All right, so she's still moving freely. I've got this completely closed. So I know that she's not pinched or hurt. I'm going to go ahead and start sliding this up. And as it sandwiches her, she'll begin to move less and less. And ideally, I'll do this to where I can get her thorax in such a way where it lines up with these slots. and ideally where her body is parallel with these slots rather than perpendicular. And she's a big girl, so this is challenging. All right, right there I've got her. Now I'm using a green marker because this is the year 2024, and years that end in 4 and 9 call for green. And you usually mark queen color, you mark queens certain colors depending on the year they were made. Well, I doubt this queen was made this year. She might have been, but that's not my purpose. It's just 2024, so I'm marking her green. And if I continue to mark my queens, I'll stick with the right color for the right year. All right, so now I'm going to lower this a little bit so she can move more freely, and to give that paint time to dry on her thorax. It's important to keep her somewhere in the shade. I do not want to put her in direct sunlight. It could kill her really quickly. Right now we're overcast, but it's still quite a hot day. I'm going to find a nice cool spot down in the grass in the shade. Now I can finish manipulating this colony and getting these frames in the middle. I don't really need to look at any more frames. I know what they've got. They have a really good start on brood. They're bringing in plenty of food. We have a nectar flow going on right now, and I'm happy with where they are. So I'm going to put 2 empty frames on this outside and then start spacing the frames that they're on and working into the middle. Here's a frame of brood, so it needs to stay in the middle. I had that propped up on the ground in the shade, and then topping it off with an empty frame with drawn out comb. Now they're set up the way I would like to see them and the way that colonies normally set themselves up. So now it's time to release the queen. And since I'm done manipulating frames, I don't have to worry about pinching her or hurting her because I'm already finished manipulating things. So I've got her here. The way we want to do this is to open this slide, but we cannot have any part of her body sticking out at the top of this. So we've got to do it gently. And I'm going to do it with her sitting down on the top bars here. And once I open this, the idea is to be patient, wait for her to come out. She'll do it pretty quickly, and watch her physically go down between 2 frames. That's when I know she is safe. Okay, here we go. Nice and slow. They've already got attendants. She already has attendants coming to her aid. There she goes. She's out. And she went straight down. Now I can just pick this up, shake the workers off, and set it up to the side. All right, with the queen safely down there, I'm going to smoke the bees just on the top bars so they'll go down. So I can put my honey super with excluder already stuck to the bottom of it back on top. Nice and easy. There's my excluder. I like to kind of bump a little bit in case there's any bees there. They feel that this box is coming down and it gives them a few seconds to move out of the way. All right, so that's done. I've marked my queen. I've manipulated the colony to center in the deep, and they've already got an excluder and honey super in place, and they're ready to go. I can come along and do any hive inspections I need to in the meantime, and they have plenty of room to work and to grow. In beekeeping, it's nice to be able to come up with a system where you can treat all your bees as one. You've got that consistency going on. But there's going to be times of the year where you'll need to treat certain colonies with individual care. In this case, we had a swarm, and I had to treat them differently than the rest of my hives, so I could get them up into the system to be able to treat them on that same consistency as the rest of my already established colonies. I don't have to worry about feeding this swarm. They already had bellies full of food when they swarmed away anyways from wherever they came. In my case, they came from one of my colonies here. I watched it happen. They settled in a low-lying thing over here of kudzu. I shook them into a box, came back later that night, relocated them just over here, and they've been here ever since. The queens started laying pretty quickly. They've already started putting food away. I feel really good about them. It was a smallish kind of swarm. Man, she just won't leave me alone. But they've got plenty of time to get their feet under them to go into fall and ultimately winter successfully. Let me know what you think about this video down below. And remember, we're all better beekeepers than we think. We don't have to be the best beekeepers out there. We just have to be slightly above average beekeepers. Drop me one of these, tell your friends about the Hive Doctor, and I'll see you in the next video.